I still remember how the kitchen smelled that afternoon, boiled tea gone just bitter enough to notice. The refrigerator humming through the silence. My father didn't even look up when he said the word independent. He said it the way you say. Final, a decision already made, not open for discussion. My sister was upstairs packing for orientation. Her tuition had been settled weeks earlier. I knew because the envelope sat open on the counter, handled, resolved. When I asked about mine, my mother tilted her head, genuinely puzzled, as if I'd asked for something optional. You'll manage, she said. You always do. There wasn't a fight. That's what surprised people later when they asked why I left. No slammed doors, no speeches. Just a moment of clarity, understanding the rules of belonging in the house, and how easily they shifted when you weren't the favored one. I packed while they were out. I took my books, my clothes, and the small framed photo of my grandfather that had sat on my desk since he died. I left a note saying I was grateful for everything they'd given me. It was true, in the careful, partial way some truths are. College became a string of transactions and quiet kindnesses, loans. Yes, but also jobs that taught me the value of showing up on time and keeping my head down. A supervisor who noticed I worked through lunch and began leaving an extra sandwich on my desk, without a word. A neighbor who watched my dog when I worked nights. None of them were family, all of them showed up. That's how I built a life, not fast, but solid. Time didn't erase the past so much as put it in context. My parents called on birthdays, sent polite holiday messages, my sister and I texted occasionally, carefully avoiding money the way you avoid chewing on a sore tooth. When the wedding invitation arrived, heavy cream cardstock, formal and deliberate, I read it twice before setting it down. It was addressed to me and my partner by name, which felt intentional. Going felt like sitting for a test I hadn't agreed to take. I decided to attend because avoidance had started to feel like another kind of obedience. Because I wanted to see my sister happy. Because 9 years gave me enough distance to believe I could stand in that room without shrinking. The venue was a renovated mill-exposed brick. White linens, everything curated. I arrived early out of habit. The seating chart took longer than expected. My name was at a back table with distant relatives and coworkers I didn't know. It was fine. It fit the role I'd been assigned long ago. My parents greeted me with the careful warmth reserved for strangers. My mother commented on my posture. My father mentioned the weather. Neither acknowledged the years between us. I noticed how easily they slipped into performance. The ceremony was beautiful. My sister looked calmer than I expected. When she caught my eye, she smiled quickly, unsure but genuine. I smiled back. That felt like progress. At the reception, I mostly stayed quiet. I listened more than I talked. People shared stories about my sister's childhood, some familiar, some completely new. It struck me how much a story depends on who tells it and who isn't there to hear it. My father was the one who said it loud enough to travel, casual enough to sound harmless. It's nice to have everyone together, he said, raising his glass. Though it does feel like something's been missing all these years. The room inhaled as one. I shifted, hovering, not quite landing. I felt the old instinct rise and need to apologize for existing at the wrong angle, to explain myself into acceptance. Before I could speak, my sister's partner, Fixa, stood. So fast his chair scraped the floor. He was pale, not with anger, but with something sharper, recognition. Stop, he said, his voice cutting clean through the music. Just stop. The room froze, the way it does when everyone senses a boundary has been crossed. You don't get to say that, he continued, staring directly at my parents. You don't get to frame absence when you created it. My sister reached for his arm, but he didn't look away. This person, he said, gesturing toward me without turning, is the reason our nonprofit survived its first year. They taught me how to build systems that don't break people. They're the person my mother calls when she needs advice she trusts. They are not a missing piece. They are the foundation in rooms you've never entered. No one clapped, no one cried. The power in that moment came from clarity, not volume. My parents looked stunned, not insulted, but exposed. Their version of events had just been corrected in public by someone they couldn't dismiss. My father opened his mouth, then closed it. My mother stared down at her hands. The music returned. Hesitant at first, then steady. Conversations resumed. In quieter tones, the moment passed because it had been named later. My sister found me near the exit, where the air was cooler and the noise faded. I didn't know, she said. True, and not enough, I know. I replied. She nodded, eyes bright but holding. I'm glad you came. So am I said, surprised that I meant it. I left before the cake was cut. Outside, my partner waited by the car, scrolling on their phone. When they looked up, they didn't ask anything. They just opened their arms, and I stepped into them as the sound of the reception fell away. On the drive home, I thought about independence, a word that had once been used to push me out. I understood it differently now. Independence wasn't being unsupported. It was choosing where support comes from. I didn't feel triumphant, I felt aligned. The past hadn't changed, but it no longer decided the terms of my presence as the city lights passed by like a quiet series of permissions.